And welcome back to Arcane Adventures Recapped, where we will be recapping the events of Chapter 4 of our campaign, Lorem Ipsum. Chapter 4 is titled Book of Secrets, Streets of Blood. In the aftermath of the attack, Lorem Ipsum aids civilians and meets with Madame Janorum, where she reveals that the party had been hired by her and Officer Mox Flynn to investigate the disappearances of the Council, and their belief that a key mastermind is both behind the murders and the festival attacks. The Council, upon finding out this news, is appreciative of their service, though they are a bit preoccupied now with the safety of Provenere as a whole. Officer Mox immediately then suggests calling for aid from the Union of Fenere and the Alliance of Provius, which sends the Council into a fret as they prepare for dignitaries to assume authority in the city in the coming days. However, more immediate at hand is the unexpected murder of Miss Tylexia while she was in custody in her jail cell. The party is to return to Janorum and Mox in the morning, where they further investigate possible connections between the festival attack and the idea that it could have been a distraction to get to Miss Tylexia, which eventually leads them to search Miss Tylexia's estate and ultimately take possession of a box, notably from not too long ago when they first encountered Miss Tylexia at her estate. And contained in this box, now that they have a look at it, is an old, unreadable tome, which has flickering runes, and it is a bit of a confusion and a conundrum. Unsure of how to read this tome, they seek out a meeting to be scheduled between Professor Larson Archulets, the historian at Claremorth University, and Madame Janorum, the councilwoman, who is also a famed arcanist here in Provenere, both of whom the party hopes can bring a bit of light to this book, and its possible value to Miss Tylexia and whoever is ultimately responsible for the attacks on the city and for her murder. With worry and concern now spreading amongst the citizens and the council about the quote-unquote aid that is to be provided by their governing nations, a window of opportunity to keep hold on this investigation is closing. And as evening approaches, our party seeks to uncover the culprit and bring an end to the loss and suffering of Provenere, and finally restore peace and security to the city. And as evening falls, a meeting between Professor Archulets and Madame Janorum comes to fruition. The two work to understand the unreadable tome. However, when Madame Janorum takes a serious blow after attempting to cast a spell to further understand the tome, she begins to experience rather severe signs that something is clearly wrong. But pushing through, it is decided that Archulets will store the tome in a locked lead box, keeping it from being tracked by arcane means, stored in his office at the university. Thus, only Madame Janorum himself and Lorem Ipsum will know the true location of the tome. As Janorum prepares to bid farewell for the night, she faints in the doorway of the apartment flat. And quickly looking her over, Paloma notes that she needs immediate medical attention. They prepare to rush her to such a place when temporal disruptions shunt them forward in time several minutes ahead. Arriving at Consalis Keep, they fetch Officer Mox and Dr. Zillick Kreese. As the temporal disruptions grow stronger, Dr. Kreese is temporarily eviscerated and transected before being repieced by the arcane field surrounding the unconscious Janorum. The party works quickly to find a solution, while Mox and Dr. Chris suggest stopping Madame Janorum's heart to temporarily limit the disruption fields, giving the party just moments to find a solution. As Ultrix runs blood tests and looks through Madame Janorum's spellbook, he makes a shocking discovery about a large section of information that Madame Janorum cannot recall long before this affliction has befallen her. Evidin sought aid from Athena Claremorth and was preparing to fetch a Miss Ellis Berdier, when Sizik took matters into his own hands and used the threads of fate to transpose his conscious mind into the mind of Madame Janorum, a feat he did not even know he was capable of. Though a use of divine and arcane magic, Sizik is able to free Janorum's consciousness and return her to life, saving her from this ailment and illness, which is not fully yet understood, but he did glean something about took place on the night, I should say, during the festival attacks not but days ago. The party then prepares to return home after a strenuous day, when they catch the silhouette of a cloaked figure entering the woods. They trail this individual about 20 minutes due east of Provonere, ultimately to a clearing, a run-down cabin here in the woods, where some of them, notably Rancor and Paloma, overhear a conversation, and it is revealed that a familiar figure might in fact be responsible for all of these most recent events, none other than Tony. A scuffle breaks out between Lorem Ipsum and Tony himself, with Tony meeting an unfortunate and quick end despite an attempt to spare his life for questioning. Searching through what Tony left behind, Lorem Ipsum finds perhaps a gargantuan conspiracy, linking various suggesting parties and involvements, including the Council, an external organization that Tony was working with or for, and even Lorem Ipsum themselves. With the party suggesting and contemplating what was left by Tony, they gather this evidence, and they finally return home for a night's rest, before planning to take all of this to Janorum and Mox in the morning. That's all for this section of Arcane Adventures Recapped, Chapter 4. We'll see you next time, and in our main sessions.